As you walk along a river in the shallow waters, you find so many rocks that look like this. They're smooth and most all the edges have been worn away. And if you're not careful, you'll take this smoothing process for granted. Because rocks that started out at the top of some mountain years and years earlier, they were jagged and rough. But somehow they ended up in the river flow. And hundreds of years passed, and tons of water poured over them, and slowly they began to change. Erosion was happening. You can't even see it happen, but it is. Water is pushing other rocks along to collide with these rocks. Grains of sand are being swept along against these rocks like sandpaper, slowly smoothing the rough places. And at the same time, gravity is working along with the forceful flow of the water to move those rocks down the mountain along the course of the river. And over time, these rough rocks have been transformed into smooth stones that we call river rocks. In a similar way, we are slowly being transformed as well. The rough edges of our lives are being smoothed away by difficult things that we encounter along the way. God is using all kinds of circumstances and even people to work out his plan for us. I'll admit that most of the time, I don't like the process, even though I look forward to the result. When I feel like I'm being pummeled by difficult circumstances, my first reaction is often to wonder, why is this happening? I might even be tempted to feel sorry for myself or get upset at the events that are coming at me. You've probably felt the same way. We just try to get out of it. We try to figure out what to do to make it stop. We even try to be spiritual, and with great faith, we pray against that circumstance, and we ask God for a miracle to get us out of this. But going through a difficult situation, a painful illness, an unexpected financial burden, a challenging person in our life, or even a spiritual battle, any of these kinds of things can be really uncomfortable, and we'd rather avoid them or get out of them quickly. In fact, lots of times we consider ourselves blessed when none of those things are happening. And when we do have something hard come up in our lives, we wonder, where's God? And what did we do wrong? But the truth is, God is allowing these things to come into our lives, and he's using them to mature us and smooth us, to transform us, to make us more like Jesus. We may not enjoy it because no discipline seems good at the time, but we like the result. We want to be transformed. We want to be more like him. We just don't like the process. The trip down the mountain, pushed along by the current, colliding with others, and being pummeled by unexpected events and difficult circumstances. None of that seems like something that we signed up for. But it's the process of transformation. God is working in us for his glory and our good. It's interesting that not all of the rocks making their way down that river will end up as smooth as these. A lot depends on the makeup of the rock itself. Some are made up of very strong materials, and they're hard and stubborn, and they refuse to give way. Others are softer material, and they're easily shaped by the process. And that's a bit like our attitude and our hearts in this process. We can be willing and even eager for God to work in us, or we can refuse to cooperate with him. We can try to be thankful in every circumstance, or we can complain at every turn. We can learn to rejoice always, no matter what's happening, or we can just be angry at the circumstance, angry with others, and even angry at God. It depends on what we're focused on, what we're thinking about, and what we really want. If we're focused on me, then we get pretty selfish and we hate anything that gets in the way of our happiness. But if we're focused on God and we're trusting Him to work in us, bringing glory to His name through us, then we learn to be thankful and to rejoice in all things. Look at this verse from 2 Corinthians 3, verse 18. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, we're being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. When we contemplate the Lord's glory, when we focus on Him, then we are being transformed, it says. We are being changed slowly, day by day, into His image. That's how He created us. He made man in His image. And that's what He wants to restore and to work out in us. And it says, with ever increasing glory. It's constantly changing us. And this comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. If we're willing to cooperate with His Spirit. So if your life has been feeling like you're tumbling down the white water in that river, and things are coming at you from all sides, and if you're feeling bruised and knocked around, overwhelmed, or hit with the unexpected, remember that God is at work. He's smoothing you, knocking off some of the rough edges, and He's working by His Spirit to transform you. This is one more event in that awesome process of transformation. So keep your eyes on the goal. Contemplate His glory being displayed in you. Be thankful in everything and rejoice in the Lord always. And I'll meet you at the bottom of that mountain. And I bet we'll hardly recognize each other because we'll look a lot more like Jesus.